So welcome at IBC 2018. I'm at the Canon booth and we're going to take a closer look at two really interesting products. Red Shark at IBC 2018 is brought to you by
Black Magic Design.
So Paul, tell me more about what you have in your hands.
So this is our new flagship XF camera, the XF705. We announced this on Wednesday, and this is the worthy successor to the XF300-305 camera. What's different about this is the first camera in its class to have H.265 compression for capture using our XF HEVC codec. The practical upshot of that is we can now do a 422 10-bit 4K or Full HD using H.265 recorded to SD cards. We can also output the same 422 10-bit through a single 12G SDI card or HDMI. And finally, the other output we have on this is the 16 megs per second IP streaming in 4K, again 422 10-bit. So a really, really connective camera, perfect to get into the way that the whole broadcast industry is going with the demand for 4K. And alongside that demand for 4K, we're looking at an increase in demand for HDR. So we've incorporated that for the first time as direct HDR recording. Both flavors are catered for, HLG and PQ. And if you know our other products, we'll have this wide dynamic range setting. That gives you the dynamic range without the need to grade. This does exactly the same. So you can record from the CP program in H.265, whichever HDR version you need for your output. If, however, you prefer to take things down the traditional route, you're not lost, because apart from the YDR option, we've also got, for the first time outside the cinema range, Canon Log 3. So the options are there pretty much to cover what you need to do. The lens is an L-class lens, 15 times dynamic, 15 times optic zoom. It has dynamic 5-axis image stabilization and dual pixel CMOS autofocus as well. Selectable on the touchscreen for your point of focus. And again, for manual focus, we have the dual pixel AF system being used to do that manual.
It sounds like such a complete package.
I mean, this really is the camera I think that the industry's been. This really is the camera the industry's been waiting for, as again the class of camera that XF305 is, which is still a massively popular camera, a real workhorse that's still earning its keep within the industry. But MPEG-2 50 megs per second. Yet a lot of people are still using it, but the demand is going to be there for much higher data rates and that all-important 422 10-bit, which we can now cater for.
Yeah, and the fact that you're still recording on SD cards,
yeah.
I think that's amazing as well, because it's such an accessible format.
And relatively cheap. Yeah. I mean, it's. I was looking on one website. I think a 64 gig card is around about between $45 and $60 US, if that's where you're paying it. So similar sort of money in euros or pounds, as opposed to far more expensive recording media for some other brands. Yeah. So yeah, very convenient to use. Again, one of the other features that we've put on that for HDR is obviously not everybody's going to want to output everything in HDR. They're still going to require to output in SDR, but you might want to capture both. With the XF705, you can capture your HDR to the SD card. Through an external recorder, you then simultaneously record SDR. But because you have to set different white points for HDR and SDR, you need to make an adjustment in the exposure. And the camera has an automatic gain control system. You can decide which one you want to expose correctly, if you will, and then you just put a gain control adjustment in of up to plus or minus 7.5 decibel, and it automatically makes that adjustment to the other option. We can also record simultaneously 4K and 2K. Again, 4K internally, 2K externally if that's what you want. So really, really versatile camera, ideally placed for documentaries, for news gathering, production feature, content. There's a whole range of stuff that XF305 has been used for so successfully, and this is where it's going to go next.
Amazing, really. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really pleased with it. I'm really excited about this camera. I may have to get into trouble with my wife and get one. I don't know. So, and then justify the purchase.
Yes. So then there's another thing you introduced recently.
Yeah.
And that's the EOS R, right?
That's correct. Yes, that's our mirrorless system, and I believe you're going to be speaking to one of my colleagues about that.
So now we're looking at the new EOS R, long awaited, if I'm correct.
Yes.
People expected Canon to bring out something like this for a long time, I guess.
Yes, there's been a lot of speculation of when Canon would enter the mirrorless market. So this EOS R is the first interchangeable lens mirrorless full frame sensor from Canon, with a whole set of lenses as well. So EOS R is more than just a camera though. So this is a new system, a whole new mount, an RF mount, 54mm internal, which actually matches that of the existing EF mount. With a mount adapter, the huge benefit of this is all our existing base of EF mount camera users, all of their lenses will work nicely with this new camera using that mount. So it's a great system to start off. Why do I say system? So Canon is one of the only manufacturers that manufactures the lens, the glass, the CMOS sensor, and also the processor technology of the whole system. So with that, we're able to achieve things like world's fastest autofocus. So with the setup I have here, thanks to the dual pixel autofocus system, we can do a 0.05 second autofocus with a 50mm and the setup here. So extremely fast. Also as well, so we can go down to -6 EV and shoot with the autofocus. So that is
amazing.
A very, very sort of low light situation. So it actually makes photography quite a bit easier. When I look at this, and I think from a video perspective for you guys, there are a lot of key features to it. So full HD or 4K shoot, we have a HDMI out to an external recorder, and that can actually do a 422 10-bit. So a nice system for all our shooters out there. If I look at the range, we have new glass. So a 50 f1.2.
Yeah.
We have a 2870 f2 zoom. So a really great camera for walking inside, outside. It covers that whole range. And then we have a zoom 24-105 and a 35mm macro IS. And then we've announced, but next year will come 2 more of these mount ring adapters with an ND filter or a polarizing filter as well. So it's a whole new solution that will really lead us into the future.
That's amazing. And the compactness of the camera, this first camera, it's just really, it's nicely built. It feels, it has like this very premium material, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everything around the design, you can see if I grip the camera, the grip is very similar to anyone that's used a Canon camera before, 5D for example. This is just about exactly the same. When I look around the body and the design, there are lots of new extra features. It's very customizable. So on the back here, we have a slider. So I can actually customize that slider for example, for ISO. I can have a low ISO and I can quickly slide my thumb across to upgain that ISO. We have a control ring on the front as well. So this again can be customized for the various controls. A screen on the back is not just flip out, it's also functional for selfie type recording, so for blogging. The screen is touch screen, so I can do an autofocus track, or I can do a face recognition, or I can, if I wanted to do manual focus, I can do focus peaking, so I can actually still control a manual focus. So for a movie maker, it has all those great little features. Also, fully comes with the log, Canon log as well. So for those that want to really shoot a bit more and have their practice in the post-production with a little bit of grading, those kind of options are there for them.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think, yeah, thank you.
No problem at all. It's lovely to see you. Thank you very much, Lee, for coming by.
Cheers. If you don't want to miss anything from IBC 2018, then make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Come on, hit that button.